All right, another video. Track critique of Miss Antidote, and the song is called Let Go. So let's have a listen and let it go and play through. Such a shitty joke, isn't it? It's nice.
I think I found the antidote.
Bass is very loud, top end. And as I say that, you turn the top end down.
It's a spiritual thing.
Gotta let go and let it happen.
Pretty chill. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Let's just start with turning off the people talking, because it's a little bit annoying. Let's just go with the overall balance as well. Let's just make sure the master's turned off. Perfect. And let's have a listen here. So you hear how the kick drum was like that? It's a little bit annoying. I don't have the sample here, but the kick drum itself, it's a little bit crap. Like this. I would not have turned that up. So just go a little more thump, cut down the low, because it's rumbling on crazy amounts. I don't know where you got this kick drum from, but like this amount of low, a bit scary. Let's get rid of that tick as well. You can actually use a we could do a multi-band transient shaper thing, but let's just do this. Okay, balance it a bit. Okay, that sounds a little bit better. So the reverb that you've put on here, a little bit on the long side. So try thinking for the reverb to choose a reverb that is the length of one count. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, try to do 1, and then in between it, that's where your reverb is. So if I just smack this for a second, the count should be from here to there. So this is one count. So try to get that reverb time about that long. It's probably about 900 milliseconds or so. Okay, and then use that instead. And I would highly suggest you take this snare drum, this loop, and cut it into 2 places so you can take the clap and the snare and process them differently from each other. And we have this. This is the hi-hat. Sounds great. Nothing really to worry about there. Bongos. Okay, cool. Just a bit clicky, but for the rest, it's fine. Maybe put the release up a little bit. Turn off that reverb on that. Otherwise, it's going to get a little bit over the top. You have an imager on this thing. So this is then together with that one. For this, make sure that they don't interact too much with each other. So you're putting a side chain to this 5 top or top. And then at the same time, this doesn't make too much sense. So just think of it as a layer instead. So either do like one where the one is like in the middle and the other one's on the side, or shift this over a little bit to the right so you don't have like in the way. But think about it as a layer instead. Don't just slam one onto the other, onto the other, onto the other. Generally speaking, this turns into a mess. Side chaining it doesn't make any sense because you're playing it at the same time. So then the only thing you're getting in is this part. So think about that a little bit. About your layering. Mid-side, EQ-wise, you can, put one over there and the other one up there. But this sidechain compression there doesn't make any sense. Okay, then we have this. Yeah, definitely mess with your dry wets, otherwise it's a bit over the top how much you compress. This sounds cool. This ding, ding. So that's cool. Overall, it's fine. Just a little bit of work. I would suggest that main reverb part and starting to already work with compressors here. So tape is fine. The saturation is cool. But at the same time, start thinking about compression. Because then you can get sounds to like sit together a little bit better. Yeah, you're going to have to take that snare apart from each other, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But this is kind of the way forward with that. Okay, then we have the bass. I would highly suggest taking this sub bass and duplicating it, and this being a sub, which means that we actually have sub here. So instead of having that opening up and closing off for a second with this kind of stuff, just have one EQ, and then you have the sub, which is then mono, and have another one, which will be your mid bass. Don't have this crap, and just open it up a little bit. And make that mid bass don't have that mono, and then open up your mid bass instead. It will really help you out with opening up the sound of the track a bit. And you can do that within Serum. You just add another voice. Or you can say to yourself, I would rather have it in with Ozone Imager. Generally speaking, this will sound a little bit nicer than just having one sub bass thing. So open that up a bit and it will sound a lot nicer for you. Don't do that. And then, for the rest, it's fine. So basically you're doing overall EQing on the group, and then at the same time you're doing EQing on the thing. Okay, because you have one more bass, which is... Yeah, okay, so you place this a little bit on the side. I would call this then top bass. Anyway, so for that sounds okay. Then after that, what I would suggest you do is get an amplifier. Get everything to have shared harmonics. There you go. I wouldn't have this top bass, sounds a bit shit. So yeah, balance those out accordingly to check the warmth. Somewhere around there should be fine. Then we have the grouped keys. Yeah, these sound fine. It's nice to have your grouped keys and to put them into that ballad reverb. So having a little bit of a longer reverb there really is quite nice. So good job. Nothing much to really say here. Sounds alright. Then we have another group here, which is more keys. You've monoed this. No reason for that. And then you imaged it out afterwards. So let's not do that. So the original sound is already quite stereo. So there's no need to mono it and then stereoize it. So you can just, pull down the width a bit because it's a little bit all over the place. But, it depends. If this is a pad underneath the other keys, it doesn't really matter if it's on the side. Cool. Then we have group. Again, you monoed it. Don't mono it. Like there needs to be a reason for this mono thing. Don't mono it and then use an ozone imager. Imager is only there to subtly enhance. We have this guy talking.
Say, when dancing, you don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive. The whole point of the dancing is the dance.
Okay, I like that you've compressed it. That really makes me quite happy. You've also put limiting on it.
Say, when dancing, you don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive.
Limiter's not doing anything. So that's very strange.
Say, when dancing, you don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive.
Where am I?
The whole point of the dancing is the dance.
There's no actual compression going on, so let's do this. Jesus, why is this so annoying?
Say, when dancing,
Now you're doing compression.
you don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive.
Okay.
The whole point of the dancing is the dance.
So make sure you use the compressor if you're gonna have the L2 there to begin with. Then you're using Golfos to re-put everything back in. Then we have tags, which is more talking, and then some effects, which, well, they're just effects. So there's nothing really interesting about effects. What you can do, instead of having these like type of sounds, what you can do is just open up a return track, call that effects, and then, do whatever you want to the tail of the effect. So most common use would be a long decay time. and then you take this and you throw it in there like this, and then you have an automatic return track that does effects.
Same way in dancing.
Shut up. Sorry, that guy is a little bit annoying. I'm for me, voiceovers always kind of annoy me a little bit, so I've have had to do a lot of voiceover work back in the day. So anyway, there you go. See, in comparison to, and in comparison to. It's a lot more natural. And you can do these effects as well to any of the actual sounds. So for instance, if you would have a break of you have a break of a bongo, you can also put this here and then make the bongo go paf. And then you can make that effects move around with auto panning. You make it louder. So there's quite a lot of things you can do there. Okay, anyway, so enough of that stuff. Let's go overall. Yeah, overall, I would go back into the mix and apply the things I've done, but make it also so that you can work in it. So the snare thing, take it apart from each other so that you can work on each individual part. And that is my biggest one. So everything that I've done, that would be my main tip because they it needs a little bit of work for get it to sound a bit better together. Overall, not bad. Okay, so that was the track feedback, man. Yep. And your master, you can also just use one Ozone 8. There's no need to use like a vintage thing, and then a vintage thing, and another one. Just use one, and then you have more control. At least for me, I personally like this a lot more. I have one Ozone 8, and then in here do my processing. So if I needed a vintage compressor, for instance, I could put that there, and if vintage tape, I could put that there, and a limiter, and what else vintage? You had all these vintage things, I would work like this instead, because it's a lot more easy as one overview instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to open up every single one to adjust every single one. And here you just quickly click and change. All right. So that's that, and you can also gain match, which is extremely important. So you can continuously click on bypass and see what you've done is actually working and or not. So a little bit more work, but not bad. Cheers.